Before you do anything, I want you to ask yourself if this is truly what you want to do, or if you're trying to impress somebody for it. It might be a mix of both, but just ask yourself that. Before you upload anything, I want you to really ask yourself if you're doing this for yourself or if you're doing this to impress somebody. It might be a girl, it might be friends, you might want to get somebody jealous. I feel like that's a huge misconception that a lot of people are doing whenever they do something. They're not doing it for themselves. And that's where imposter syndrome kicks in. I'm not saying don't do whatever you want to do, because who knows, maybe you're impressing people by just being yourself. If that's the case, keep on doing it. That's incredible. But if you don't find fulfillment in what you're doing, and you're doing it to impress other people, a certain job you're in, a career path that you're taking, whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't find fulfillment in that and you're only doing it to impress your peers, your parents, really ask yourself if you want to keep on doing that or if you're actually going to start living and stop surviving. Because the difference between surviving and living is critical. Surviving is just doing your day-to-day things, basically just being on autopilot and not living life for what it's truly meant to be. In my opinion, in my eyes, life has to be lived to its fullest extent. And what I mean by that is you have to stop living life on autopilot. You have to actually experience things, because people have the misconception that you need to be happy to live. I think that's wrong. You want to live life by experiencing things: sadness, happiness, courage. And you might think it's kind of hypocritical of me because of the way that I appear, but trust me when I say that this is the way that I like to be. This is who I am. I'm going to tell you guys a story about a woman named Rhonda, a 28-year-old freelance writer who hangs around some of the most influential people in the world. Whenever you hang around such high-quality people, your attitude changes. Your actions change. The way you appear changes. So in order to feel like she wasn't missing out, in order to actually feel that she was actually a part of the group, she started telling stories about her lifestyle and things that just simply weren't true. She would tell stories about how she had a beachside mansion in Miami, and she would tell all these luxurious stories about her life and about how she lived. It all went great up until the point where her friends were telling her to invite them to her house, where they told her to host a charity gala at her house, and that's when she had to come clean. But when at first she was actually noticing that her telling these lies were fulfilling her and they were inviting her to more parties, she was getting more opportunities. At first it was great. She was like, well, that's fantastic. I'm always going to keep lying because I'm getting something out of it. But in the long run, it ended up biting her in the ass, and her friends ended up just completely losing all trust that they had in her. And she basically ended up shooting herself in the foot. The moral of the story is, at first your lies might get you somewhere, and yes, they might present certain opportunities, but whenever the truth is uncovered, it will bite you in the ass. I promise. Take Rhonda, for example. She had a great life, and she was surrounded by some of the most influential and successful people in the world, but she felt that she had to be like them to fit in, when in reality that wasn't the case. The only thing that she had to do was be herself. Her friends didn't care that she had money. Her friends didn't care that she was as influential as them. They liked Rhonda for being herself. They liked her for who she was. And once she started changing her appearance and the way she acted, at first it went well. They were like, we like this new version of Rhonda. But whenever they discovered that she isn't actually like that, they cut her off. And ask yourself, if you're like Rhonda, are you pretending to be somebody you're not? Are you faking it? And if you are, is it fulfilling you? And if it's not, then it's really up to you to change. And plus, if that wasn't enough to convince you, people forget in 30 seconds. The average attention span of humans nowadays is anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. So whenever you post that story about you doing that cool thing, living that lavish lifestyle, at first they'll be like, oh, that's awesome, I wonder what he's up to. But after 30 seconds, they're gonna forget. So do what you will with that information.